Well, there was a mayor like, yes, we're gonna balance our budget. Giving parking. That's good.
Yes.
Not so much, let's take it out. A lot of things. Have you looked into like this? Pretty good, busy. They're coming to through really. Okay, good. Sorry, I'm trying to work with I want sure you essentially yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it is. I like all this stuff. That's neat.
That's all I had to do to start the recording. So as you heard, we're recording this session because somebody said it. I'm Chris Bednar, president of the ARMA New England chapter. Good to see everybody here. I'll introduce Donda in a second. Wanted to thank everybody for being here. I wanted to also particularly thank the board members from ARMA New England. Can you please stand? Meg, Colin, John.
Thanks, guys.
Helping us out for the chapter board. Thank you very much. I also wanted to thank our sponsors that have been with us since our large event in September. Access Gimmel, which is now, as of today, purchased by Moray. Preservica, Extero, and Konica Minolta. I really wanted to thank Christine and the team at Ropes for putting this together, and I'll send a note to Al afterwards. Unfortunately, I know he couldn't be here, but it was great to have you all here. Today's sponsor is Extero, who unfortunately changed reps, so they weren't able to send somebody, but we'll get a flavor from Extero at some point in time soon. As you noted, this is being recorded. We're going to eventually put this onto our website, on our YouTube channel. We'll send out a message about that when it's done. We're going to follow this session up with an informal, what we're calling afternoon tea chat. So it's going to be a virtual opportunity to discuss what Donda takes us through, and it'll also give us a chance to invite other people to talk about it, to listen. We'll be promoting to watch the video as well before coming and joining that tea chat. More later, I'll talk more about ARMA in the chapter, but I wanted to get into Donda. Coming all the way from Maine, Donda Young is a principal consultant and president of Helios Consulting. Please grab some sunflower seeds on the table on your way out.
Yes, please. I grow them myself and I harvest them, so please take them with you and share the light into the world.
which is where Helios came from.
Yes, it is actually. It's a part of the genus name of the sunflower.
There you go.
We learned something today, didn't you, Chris?
I probably knew that before. So Donna supports companies' information governance, has over 20 years of experience, serves Fortune 500 and AM Law 100 clients. She's a certified information professional, as are some of us out in this room. Also an AIM International Fellow, past president of the New England chapter of ARMA, and gives back to the IG community as she is today through volunteering, speaking, and mentoring. And with that,
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. So I want you to imagine a vast library with countless books, e-media, and the relevant devices to read those things. Right? Got that picture in your mind? Like huge, as big as this building. But then there are no librarians. Right? There's chaos, there's misplacement, there's loss of valuable knowledge. This is what information governance without a proper information coordinated network looks like, at least to me. So thank you for being here. I'm going to share my top 5 reasons for building and sustaining a coordinator network. And throughout this presentation, you will see images reflecting service members and veterans. Various divisions of our military are the epitome of teamwork and collaboration, right? And I thought some of the photos were very apropos for today's topic. And a big thank you to our service members who may be in the room and their families. Thank you, Chris.
Can we just move the mic? So
over a little bit. Sure. Yep.
Thanks.
Usually I don't get too close to the mic because I am very loud. So thank you, service members and your families, for your selfless sacrifices. That's me. Moving on. Top 5 aspects of building the program, but then also sustaining it, because once you get it in place, you have to keep it going, right? So your first aspect of building the program, you need to gain buy-in. So a raise of hands, how many of you have made up bedtime stories so fantastic that the child that you were teaching it to or saying it to bought into the story and wanted to hear it over and over again? Nieces, nephews, kids, okay, some of you, cool. Telling your business story needs that wow element. Just like when you tell that story to your child that says, Mama, I want to hear the fish story over and over again. This is my son, because I made up a story. So over and over, I should probably write the book, but anyway, it needs to be believable, actionable, and measurable to gain the buy-in of your senior leaders. A business case is a document that justifies a new project to management, investors, stakeholders. And it's really an essential document when a project requires major investment of money. But sometimes it's not necessarily money, it's resources, it's people, right? The business case can bring together the benefits, the drawbacks, the expenses, and the risks of the problem and a future solution, so senior management can make that decision. Are we going to move forward? Are we going to do stalemate? Or are we going to do something a little hybrid? To successfully build a coordinator network, it's essential to gain the buy-in from these stakeholders. And this involves demonstrating tangible benefits of IG, such as improved information quality to inform AI tools for deeper contextual business knowledge, regulatory compliance, we're all kind of in that space, right? And enhance decision-making. Engaging the stakeholders early in the process addresses their concerns, and showcasing quick wins can help build momentum and secure their support. So my suggestion would be research with the stakeholders the possible approaches to the issue you're trying to solve. Their feedback is important for that buy-in and support when the initiative is approved, right? That's what your goal is. Express the problems with the lack of not having coordinators. What does it look like? Set the picture, set the stage. We have no coordinators. This is what the landscape looks like. And then demonstrate the benefits of your new vision, your new story. But one thing that I can't stress enough, tie it to the goals of the company, to the vision and the mission. And if you need help, talk to a stakeholder who's willing to help champion your idea. They can help you build that. That's why the stakeholders are important to get their buy-in. Give the little pieces and nuggets of the issues that they're concerned with, the things that they want to accomplish. Tie them into what you're trying to accomplish. But start small. My mantra is, with my clients, start small, grow big. Don't eat the whole donut and shove it in your face all at once. People like to use the elephant. I like elephant analogy. I don't want to eat an elephant, so it's donuts for me. Because if you take small bites, they're more digestible, right? So you build that business case that focuses on a pilot information coordinator program. Leverage a few stakeholder members to become part of that pilot. Once the pilot's complete, tell your story again, but maybe to a broader audience. Be sure to include key objectives, key performance indicators in your readout. Everybody loves metrics, right? Especially senior leaders. Your successes and lessons learned will help persuade executives of the value and necessity of a full-scale implementation. Again, start small, get your proof of concept in order, make it as successful as you can, and then build from there. Identify information coordinator key functions is the next aspect of building your program. So in today's data-driven world, the role of the coordinator is more crucial than ever. At least that's what I've seen with my clients and when I've run programs as a IG practitioner. So part of building a coordinator network is to identify key functions that they're going to perform. Each company will embrace different functions to be performed by the coordinators because of their culture. You can't take the culture of the organization out. You have to embrace that as part of the development process. These professionals ensure that the information flow within an organization is accurate, secure, and well managed. The functions that they perform may involve varying degrees of leadership and individual contributor responsibilities. However, what remains constant is the empowerment of these individuals, a critical factor in the network success and thriving information governance program. So what are these functions that this individual might have to do? And it's important to identify as you're building your program what those functions are, so you know what to tell them to do to help them, right? So one is information and data quality. Ensuring the accuracy, consistency, and reliability of information across the coordinator's assigned business unit, it's really no small feat. Coordinators are the guardians of data quality, guiding thorough data quality management practices to ensure that every piece of information is trustworthy and secure. Quality information has become the second new craze next to what, audience? It's the big buzzword, AI, right? Why? Because data quality and sources of true information support teaching the AI tech to produce quality insights, desire to grow a business. This involves developing departmental standards for quality information, routine audits, validation processes, and continuous monitoring. Their role in catching and correcting any discrepancies is crucial. Sometimes you may hear the term data stewards. In my mind, data stewards and information coordinators kind of really the same thing. They may have a few different functions, but I'm starting to see a little more of a blend from the data governance side and the information governance side. So they help provide that secure foundation for the department that they're in. They help with the integrity of their department's information. So their second function, they help with enhanced compliance. In an era where data breaches, litigation, and audits are way too common, ensuring that information usage complies with various laws, regs, GDPR, CCPA, we can name all the acronyms in the world, right? It'd be like 10,000 pages long. But compliance is becoming a non-negotiable aspect of managing information. Coordinators play a pivotal role in ensuring that the handling practices meet these regulatory requirements. We as IG practitioners and records management professionals cannot do it ourselves. We need help. We're only typically a small team of, 3 to 5, sometimes it's only one person. So their support through audits, managing disposition practices, and support the department with privacy measures help in protecting sensitive information. Third function, they help administer the IG practices within the business. We as professionals support the lines of business areas with these best practices. Life cycle of information, compliance with various information controls, regulations. But who's better to execute these activities than the owners and creators of the information? They are the ones that really need the information, right? We don't. We just want to help them. Business owners often desire a say in the decisions that could impact their daily operations. The best way to support these efforts is get that coordinator network in place. They can be the liaisons with various information compliance departments. And this approach can serve as a support system for their teams, helping them navigate the ever-changing landscape of one of the company's most significant assets outside of themselves. It's the information. By involving business owners in the information management process, we, as professionals, empower them to make informed decisions that directly impact their operations. Administering information governance policies and procedures within the business unit is essential for managing and maintaining information integrity and compliance. Coordinators sustain those policies and procedures through collaboration with us and with their departments. They help ensure that information in the unit follows best practices for information handling and storage. This not only keeps the information clean, but also helps avoid costly compliance issues. Function 4, metadata management. A lot of folks don't think about this one when building a coordinator network. But in the age of AI and data quality, metadata has become one of the additional top things that we have to think about. And, it's a critical function in creating, maintaining information dictionaries and metadata repositories. By managing metadata effectively, coordinators make it easier for users to find and understand the information they need. Kind of enhances their overall productivity. If we're tagging things, hashtag whatever, to our information, right? Effective metadata management requires a structured approach to collecting, storing, and utilizing this data. Coordinators can aid in developing and imposing the policies, the standardized information formats, and help oversee the life cycle. Their efforts ensure that information remains organized, easily retrievable. That's kind of the goal. You want to find it faster, right? And AI can help with some of that retrieval augmented generation RAG. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's important. Because it helps aid the business area in adopting, labeling, and tagging best practices. Function 5, improve accessibility for information. Coordinators within the business can help streamline access by supporting the management of permissions of information, ensuring that data is available to those who need it when they need it. This typically involves working with IT security and various system administrators. You may not think of this one necessarily, but I know when I ran a program, I don't know how many times I had to go to my IT partners and say, hey, we've got a group of folks, coordinators, that need access to this. They're helping, and we had to justify with IT why the need was there. And once they understood what the need was, it was a no-brainer for them. So working with these teams helps eliminate some of the bottlenecks. Again, it goes back to stakeholder conversations. They are a stakeholder. They have to support the security of the information within the organization. So why not take them and have coffee and have that convo? Function 6, collaboration and communication. Working with information owners, analysts, and other stakeholders to resolve information-related issues and promote best practices is crucial. It's a foundational part of the coordinator's job, quite honestly. If they're not good coordinators, it's not going to be successful for them. They act as the liaisons, facilitating communication and collaboration across the business unit and with the IG program leaders to ensure that everyone is on the same page when it comes to managing information. They have typically earned the trust and respect of their teams, becoming the pre-established go-to resource within the business for operational support. They would typically conduct peer-to-peer training for new hires, and their coordination and leadership skills shine in small to large projects. Those are the people that you're looking for. These people are really the epitome of IGRM business champions, embodying practical information and records management values and principles. They're typically the go-to leader within the department. They may even have lead in their title, but you want to look for the people that everybody gravitates towards within a department because they have all the knowledge, right? So tap on their shoulder and have a conversation about being a coordinator. So the third aspect of building your program is identifying the skills. These professionals are tasked with ensuring that information within a business unit is managed and governed effectively. We kind of know this, but to excel in the role, it requires some very diverse skills. So let's take a look at a few of those. Business acumen. Understanding the business, the organization's business context and strategic goals is kind of important. Coordinators must grasp how information impacts business processes and decision-making. This knowledge enables them to align information management practices with the department's objectives. Each department typically has goals and objectives, and then they bubble up into the corporate goals and objectives. So that's why building your program is important to tap into those goals and objectives. Communication skills. Effective communication is vital for collaborating with stakeholders, including IT, privacy, other business units, and us. Individuals adept at translating technical information concepts into business terms and vice versa make strong information coordinators. It's kind of what we already do as professionals, right? We're looking for people in the business that can kind of do that. Business analysts is a good role to tap into to potentially be a coordinator. Communication skill ensures that all parties understand the importance and implications of information management practices. Skill 3, interpersonal skills. It's a lot about communication, isn't it? A lot about what we do as professionals is about having a conversation with someone. Being a good facilitator, negotiator, and implementer, it's essential for what we do and what they do. Coordinators often need to earn the respect of others and work collaboratively to promote information governance best practices. That's why you want to go to the go-to people, the lead people in the business. Strong interpersonal skills help in building relationships and foster a culture of cooperation and compliance. Fourth skill, compliance knowledge. Having a general understanding of maybe some of the privacy laws that impact their business unit and regulations that may impact the use, storage, and disposition of information helps the coordinator and really gets to the specifics of managing the information within the unit. It's central to ensuring information is handled ethically and in compliance with regs. Coordinators who have a pulse on relevant laws and standards to protect information and mitigate risks with data breaches, legal holds, and audits are really some prime candidates you might want to look at. Skill 5, attention to detail. Precision in managing information quality and ensuring information accuracy is fundamental. Attention to detail includes maintaining detailed documentation on processes, those impacting maintenance use, life cycle, metadata of information, and it helps identify and rectify errors in having this skill. And it helps remain the reliability and trustworthiness of the business unit's information. Skill 6, technical acumen. Coordinators skilled in using various tools and tech that aid in managing information, quality control, and governance lend to a more successful contributor and business unit leader. This expertise enables them to help implement effective information management solutions that support the whole unit, and then therefore the broader compliance teams. Analytical aptitude. Strong analytical and problem-solving abilities are necessary to identify and resolve information issues. Analytical skills, including performing root cause analysis and implementing corrective actions. These skills help in maintaining high-quality information that supports effective decision-making and operational efficiency. The role of the coordinator is really a multifaceted and requires, as you can tell, a blend of skills. And there may be more. These are just the ones that I came up with. But mastering these essential skills, coordinators can ensure the information within the unit is managed effectively for them, supporting their informed decision-making and operational efficiency. Their expertise enhances information quality and contributes to the, the organization's overall success. Aspects 4 in building your program is understanding the challenges that these individuals may encounter. As information professionals looking to implement this network, it's wise to be aware of what those challenges can be and what the coordinators will face. Knowing these challenges up front allows you to be preemptive and support them in overcoming what some of these particular challenges are. I'm going to go through a few of those. Challenge 1, the explosion of our digital and unstructured information. Your coordinators are going to struggle to manage and organize large volumes of information. We know this because we're doing it. We feel that pain. The sheer quantity of information can be overwhelming, making it difficult to ensure that information is properly categorized and easily retrievable. Evolving tech. Got this lovely AI thing that's been hitting all of us, at least maybe not directly, but it sure has been in the news and in our faces a lot, whether it's on social or the regular news or wherever. So keeping up with rapidly changing tech and tools can be daunting. We know this, but coordinators are best armed by continuously updating their skills and knowledge to stay effective. Now, I'm not saying they have to go out and learn AI, I'm saying they have to become a certified records manager, though it might help, or a CRA, certified records analyst. That may help too. But the constant learning curve can be challenging for them. And it's for us as IG professionals, we have to recognize that. So we may have to provide them with some gentle education, pointing them in the direction of, hey, go read this article. This may help you. Tools and technologies that are introduced frequently can cause a challenge for anyone. And as we know, when SharePoint came out back in the day, it was thrown in our faces, and then we have thousands of SharePoint sites that are now being looked at, and people are trying to manage it, right? If we were part of that implementation early on, maybe it wouldn't be so crazy, right? Challenge 3, compliance. We all have to do it. It's not fun, but we kind of have to do based off of rules and regs. So navigating the complex laws and regs impacting information, we know it's a challenge, but coordinators are really pivotal in supporting and handling those practices within the business. You know, we have legal requirements. We have to protect sensitive information. And again, they know their information better than we do. So who best to kind of spearhead some of that? So this involves staying updated on the latest regs and supporting robust compliance measures for their business unit. I recently worked with an insurance company here in Massachusetts, and they were working on building this program, and I was part of that, and I absolutely loved it. What they did to help gain weight to their program is that they created some IT risk controls. One of those was business units, you have to have a coordinator. Business units, senior leaders, mind you, and they had to do an attestation, so that was the second one. And the third one is they had to have a file plan and operational plan for managing information in their departments. And wow, when I jumped on board with this particular project, I was so excited because I was like, wow, records management isn't in legal? It's in IT risk management? Oh, that's a new one for me. That's pretty cool. And I'm starting to see that switch, that it's information management, data governance, they're blending, they're moving into IT, and it's a function within the group. They're not necessarily being called records management, but the functions that they're doing is records management. Yes, Chris.
The insurance example you you said, the liaisons, are they full-time employees or are they given like 10% to do records?
Yeah, so as any coordinator program, it's an add-on particular responsibility to what they were hired for. So they aren't necessarily carving out 10% or 20% or 15% of their time out of the day. But I can tell you for this particular insurance company, what I saw was they had privacy liaisons, they had data stewards, and they had information coordinators throughout various parts of the business. Sometimes they were 3 different roles. Sometimes they were all collapsed into one. And I can tell you by observing this, having all of that responsibility on top of what they were hired for is tough. My suggestion to them was start talking to your HR team and your senior leaders to try and bring this as an actual data steward, combining all of these functions into one for each of your units. Now, we all know, because we've probably tried this ourselves, that's hard to get past that little hurdle. I think it would work. I really do think it would work because there's so many pieces and parts from a compliance or regulatory perspective that one person doing the privacy, the IT, the security, the records management functions, they're already kind of invested in kind of the space, right? They're already doing some of the things. Why not bring in a CRA to do those functions? So challenge 4, maintaining quality of information. Ensuring the accuracy, consistency, and reliability of information across various systems and sources is a constant battle. It's for us, it's for them, even in the business. Coordinators are essential in executing robust quality management practices to maintain high standards of integrity. They rely upon us, the IG team, to help them understand what those quality management practices are to support the business. And it's up to us to educate them. We have to give them the resource. We have to give them training. Challenge 5 they're going to face, accessibility. They're going to have to try and help find a balance between accessibility to those who need it and protecting it from unauthorized access. You may think that this is solely an IT thing. Well, IT is going to rely on the business, right? They're going to need to know, well, who can have access in the organization to your stuff and who can't? Why not leverage a coordinator, business analyst, someone within the business to help them with that? So the balance often involves negotiating with stakeholders with varying needs and expectations within the business. Again, that liaison, making it a complex task that must be coordinated with IT security. Challenge 6. Yes.
Just curious, Don, are you seeing organizations kind of shift in their accessibility posture to maybe moving from a more optimistic to more pessimistic posture?
I don't know that I'm seeing a trend one way or the other. I think it really depends on the culture of the organization. Some folks are being more, optimistic. I would say the highly regulated groups, they're definitely on the pessimistic side. Banks and insurance companies and lenders and brokers, it's hard. And, you want to throw in law firms into that? Well, partners, they're like, no, this is my stuff. You're not going to touch it. I'm not going to give access to any of it, right? But it is about information sharing. And if we can get them to be comfortable in understanding why and the value towards that to work more efficiently, we have to meet them where they are to be able to explain that. And you have to understand and have a conversation with them about, well, what's your problem? What's the business issue? And it may be broadly from a strategic perspective. But if you start sitting down with the stakeholders in the business unit, what's the issue with your information? I can't find this stuff. It's in 6 different SharePoint sites. It's out in Box. It's out in Google Drive. And none of us can find the most recent information. Those are some of the stories that I've had to help organizations through. So it's about the conversation and the culture, I would say. Yes, John.
What happens if perhaps the entity of the company needs to do a correction of government regulations, pharmaceuticals,
Again, I think that's culture because, again, highly regulated. Not having a coordinator network in that instance, and I haven't worked in that field, I would think is probably the same as any other highly regulated organization. You still have to have the conversation. You have to pinpoint what their challenges are and try to mitigate what they are. I would say if anyone in this room and maybe some of our vendor folks could lend to a conversation in that pharmaceutical kind of space, because it's just not any space that I've been in yet. So the next challenge that these folks are going to face are stakeholders. We know we're going to get pushback. We get pushback, right? So the coordinators must work with these diverse teams, the stakeholders, the owners of the information, the IT, people in the business unit, managing the relationships and ensuring everyone is aligned on IG practices. It can be a challenge because we know we've been facing it. So everything that we've faced, they're going to face because they're the front-facing people in the department. Effective communication and negotiation skills are essential to navigating the dynamics. These challenges that we've just went through highlight the complexity and importance of the coordinator's role in ensuring high quality, compliant, and secure information management. Despite these hurdles, coordinators are essential for maintaining the integrity and usability of their information. By addressing these challenges as IG professionals head on, we can help create a robust framework within our organizations that support informed decision-making and operational efficiency. Our 5th aspect of building a program is avoiding some pitfalls. I had to use this because it's every time I see pitfall, thank you. Yes, Atari comes to mind, right? Yes, it's great.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad you approved, Colin. When establishing a coordinator network, there are typical pitfalls that we want to avoid. Counterbalancing these pitfalls will lead to more successful coordinator network programs. So what are they? Pitfall 1, lack of clear roles and responsibilities. If you don't have a RACI chart, create a RACI chart. I cannot tell you how many times I've gone into an organization and this isn't even there. And once we've gone through the exercise, and sometimes it can be a little contentious, once we solidify what that RACI chart looks like, it's almost like you could see the light bulb above their heads. So without clearly defined roles, coordinators are going to struggle to understand their duties, leading to confusion and inefficiency. And then your program's going to tank. So it's vital that information professionals, we build the programs with our key stakeholders, developing the roles and responsibilities that support the culture of the organization. Now, if you get into an organization that says, we're trying to change our culture from the it's my stuff to it's our stuff, that's tough. That's where my mantra of start slow or start small, grow big is going to come into play. You've got to have the tiny, quick wins, helps build that business case, and you keep building. You keep building your champions and you let them help you tell the story. Pitfall 2, insufficient training. Coordinators need ongoing training to stay updated with the latest tool, tech, and our best practices in managing information. And as things change in the information management world, we have to stay updated. Well, that means that we have to update them. So a lack of training can result in, as we know, poor management of info. A few of my suggested ways to support training are: create an intranet portal dedicated to coordinators to supporting ongoing training. The portal should include job aids, guidelines, best practices, and other training resources. It can also include little videos. I've done that with one of my clients. We've had a portal, we've done some videos. They were even actually out there on Workday as information management training opportunities. Implement onboarding training to acquaint the newly assigned coordinators with their role and responsibility and the intranet portal that you've created for them. Hold monthly coordinator network meetings to share updates on new best practices. How-tos. Activities that help them implement information management within their unit. Building camaraderie and connections between the coordinators will establish a strong network of highly skilled resources that will be invaluable to your program, not only to you, but to each other. And that's, in my mind, the ultimate goal. They may not always come to you. They may be coming to each other because somebody else has had a challenge with maybe a stakeholder. How did you address it? Well, hey, let's connect the two dots, right? Pitfall 3, ignoring your information quality. Failing to prioritize information quality can result in inaccurate, inconsistent, and unreliable information. And it's undermining decision-making processes if we don't have quality information. To enhance compliance and consistency, the business unit, we hope, will adopt and communicate guidelines for managing information throughout the unit. And that's why the coordinators are there. That's what we hope for them to accomplish. Resistance to change. This is probably going to be one of the biggest hurdles that they and you face in your programs. Coordinator networks often involve changing the existing landscape, processes, systems. Stakeholder resistance can hinder the implementation of effective information governance practices. We've seen it, we felt it, we probably should have t-shirts. Embracing change is the key to an organization's growth and success. Senior leaders must champion our cause. Now, if you want to call it IG, you want to call it DG, you want to call it risk, I don't care what the terminology is, but they have to be part of it. They have to lend their full support to this coordinator, data steward, whatever they want to call it, role.
Yeah, I was
Kevin.
gonna say, I was hoping you'd get to this, like, all of the, it's so critical to get sponsorship for what you're doing, especially when you cross the street outside of the traditional records or information governance space. Like, I'm finding in my experience, many companies, everyone says, well, we're on a legal hold, and therefore we do nothing, which is not
accurate.
Nothing is the worst strategy. And you will find as you talk to senior leadership or if you talk to lawyers, legal hold is not this broad do nothing kind of thing. So like I always think I have to be constantly managing up, keep talking to people, keep finding senior leadership, find a sympathetic voice who sits higher than you, and then celebrate those measurables or those achievements, so that this culture of change is sponsored.
Adopted. Yeah, absolutely. I can't agree more. You know, they ultimately own the information that they create, right? They should be responsible for supporting the compliance efforts within their unit. When I worked with the insurance company here in Mass, That was the message from senior leaders. Like that message got through to senior leaders. They articulated that everybody in this particular organization had to work with the coordinators, the data stewards, and the privacy liaisons. What they, I don't want to say what they said, had to be done. But the culture was, we want to do the right thing. They want to do the right thing for their clients. That was in the back of their heads. It's not just for them, because they too are stakeholders, but these stakeholders are the clients. So how can we better manage information to support our clients? So we're going to get into how do we keep this program going? We talked about the things that you need, the pitfalls, the challenges, trying to mitigate some of those things, and the skill sets that are needed. So one aspect of sustaining your program is continuous education and training. You got to keep it fresh. Latest tools, texts, best practices, regular training sessions, workshops, access to online courses that may be out there. Heck, there could be a Udemy that's on information management that's free. Why not bring that in? If it's allowable within your organization, have them take that particular course. They have to help stay ahead of the curve and perform their duties more effectively, but we have to help them do that. Please, for the love of all that is holy in the universe, make it fun, make it engaging. We know, yes, we may geek out about IG and records management, but it's really not that exciting. It's kind of boring. Although some of us geek out about it, but there's ways that you can make it fun and engaging. Leverage your marketing teams, please. They are the creatives in your organization. They are going to help you be creative, and they may even help you set some things up. HR teams as well. They usually have access to learning management systems. They may be willing and able to help support you. Aspect 2, encouraging a culture that values information quality and governance across the organization. Kind of essential. It's kind of what we're trying to accomplish, right? When your stakeholders understand the importance of information integrity and support governance initiatives, the coordinator's job just becomes that much easier. Promoting awareness and appreciation for information governance, data governance, whatever the heck you want to call it, through company communications and training fosters information-driven culture. We are in the AI world right now. Data quality is of the utmost importance if you're going to be looking at implementing AI. I don't care if it's just a simple chat bot, a help bot, whatever it is. It's pulling information. We want to make sure that the outputs are of quality. You can't do that if you have garbage in, because what are we going to get? Garbage out. Exactly. Team. There is no I. Facilitate collaboration. Promoting collaboration between the coordinators, IT teams, business units ensures that information-related issues are addressed more holistically and efficiently. Regular meetings with cross-functional teams and using collaborative platforms can help facilitate these communications and cooperation among different departments. One thing that I've done as a practitioner, back in the day, I brought in folks from security, privacy, to have conversations with my coordinators. Like, why is it important from this lens, this hat that I'm wearing, right? And it was interesting to watch the group. We were, I think at the time it was WebEx, so it wasn't a Zoom, but it was interesting to see some of the light bulbs. Oh, that's kind of why we have to do X, Y, or A. Bringing in I'll say guest speakers into your monthly meeting that you might have, or your quarterly meeting with your coordinators. Why not? It's just going to give them a broader skill set. And guess what? All these skills that they're building, they get to put that on their performance reviews. And if we want to really dive in, have that as part of a goal for each of them. Also, having those conversations with HR. If you look at your ethics policies, it may talk about information and managing it and whatnot. Guess what? It's probably some line item on your performance reviews that we have to ethically do things, right? Well, some of those things is managing information. Recognize and reward. This is how, in my opinion, you help sustain your program. If you are not recognizing or rewarding your coordinators for a job well done, even for the small, tiniest little things, it's not going to move. It's not going to sustain as well as you would hope. Do incentives that can boost their morale and their motivation. It could be a tiny little candy bar left on their desk with a note that says, "Great job for being a coordinator." A lot of organizations have Workday. They have also HR incentive programs where you can say, "Hey, kudos to so-and-so," or "Hey, you can get so many points and you get to go buy stuff," right? Use it. Fast, easy, quick. You can create a template for yourself because you're probably going to have to rinse and repeat the message over and over again for different coordinators. Just make a little folder and put that stuff in there and write something really cool and flavorful and copy paste. But make it fun. Heck, maybe once a year have a pizza party. I don't know. Do things that make people feel appreciated. Those are the leaders that I have gravitated towards, because you want leaders, you don't want managers. Be a leader. Senior management support. We've talked about this one throughout this presentation. You have to have it. Straight up. Have those conversations. Questions?
The comment.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of success in not just giving them candy bars and rewards, but putting it into people's formal review process. Because that's really what's going to change what those folks are getting. If it's a line item in your formal review and the checkbox, it's in Workday, it's calculated, it's part of your annual.
Can't agree more, Chris. Questions?
The comment.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of success in not just giving them candy bars and rewards, but putting it into people's formal review process. Because that's really what's going to change what those folks are getting. If it's a line item in your formal review and the checkbox, it's in Workday, it's calculated, it's part of your annual.
Can't agree more, Chris. Absolutely. Bake it into their performance with their managers, with them, and be that resource that helps write that little, "Hey, here's your kudos." CC the management team. Goes in the performance review. Help them help you.
So I'm curious, have you had any experience where you meet a client or you start going down this road and you realize, oh, this was tried previously and it did not work well. How do you either course correct or adapt to, let's say, one of those key things you were talking about was lacking or was absent and it fell apart? Like, how do you pick up the pieces and say, let's review this?
My approach has always been, well, where do you think it fell through? And whether it's one of the aspects or something different that I may not have identified. You're having the conversation, obviously, with the IG team, but you're having the conversation with whom they have identified as the key stakeholder to have the conversation with. Now, typically, it's not going to be a CEO. They don't give a shit. They just don't. But privacy, risk, IT, those are the people that you want to bring in. Ask why they thought that, well, some of them, I'll be honest with you, had no clue. It wasn't marketed. That was one of the big downfalls of one of the organizations that I work with. It wasn't marketed well. And then it was senior leadership support. Well, who were those leaders? Let's have a conversation. Well, are they gone? Oh, that's the issue, because you don't have a new champion. Let's see where we can tackle that and build a new champion. So it's kind of pinpointing where they think it fell through. Sometimes, Kevin, we just didn't have the resources internally to do all the things that I've talked about today. Absolutely. When you're pigeonholed with lack of resources, it does make it challenging. You can only do what you can only accomplish, right? You can't work 70, 80 hours a week to make it successful. But there are things that you can do, especially, I can't say this one enough from an importance perspective, is building that portal where they can go, they can look at, here's your roles and responsibilities. Here's some training materials. Here's multiple templates for whatever they have to accomplish. If you can get some of that foundational thing in order, then it's going to make their lives a little bit easier. But you do have to do your marketing. And that's where working with the marketing team is going to have some magic. Yes, John.
I was a manager for 3 years. And actually, making in the performance review function of what I had the experience was in the final year of the very senior management company changed the entire performance review thing, and they actually put in things which are so reviewed that number of them did not apply to people responsibilities, and trying to work that out while they being at my immediate supervisor were just left having to in turn something which had been very straightforward.
If I put on my end user hat as an employee, and yes, there are goals and whatnot, my management team and even our senior leaders want us to accomplish and put in our reviews. It's really, in my mind, it's up to me. It's up to me to showcase what I did. And a lot of folks struggle with that because I'm just doing my job, right? I'm doing all the tasks, I'm doing all the things. Well, when you're adding on these ad hoc items, those are the things you really need to put in your reviews. It's up to you as an individual. And I would say as leaders of IG, it's our job to let them know that. Like, don't forget this. You worked on building a file plan. This took you 3 months to do with your entire team because you led it. Make sure you're showcasing that for them. That's one of the values as a leader of IG that you can bring to the departments.
I'd also add on to that, if you're not developing metrics or numbers around how many people, it's very hard for me to believe what you're saying.
Yep.
You went from how many X to Y. What are those things? What did you do? And part of that is yeah, the storytelling aspect of it. So you need to find a way to say that this is, what are the parameters? And do that. The pitfall there is do not use numbers that you have no control over.
Yeah. Metrics are super important, but don't do metrics for widget's sake, I would say. Make them meaningful. Just a little plug, on the 21st, there's going to be an online session with myself, Steve Weissman, some of you may know, he's big in the industry, and Jesse Wilkins. We're going to be talking about this exact topic, which is metrics. So I would encourage you guys, just go to LinkedIn and check out our posts. You'll find a link. I don't believe in, hey, we scanned this many number of pages. Great. What does that do? What has that done for the business? How has that helped? Key performance indicators. So I would say tune in. And I want to thank you all. We are a little over time. I want to thank you all for being here, listening, showing up at this very confusing building. But it's great to see you all. Please reach out if you have questions. As Chris had said, I do enjoy mentoring others. Even if it's, I've got this business problem. Yes, you're a consultant, and yes, I want to get paid for stuff, but I also love to just help. So please feel free to reach out. Thank you all.